everyone, Michaela here with Edge of the Playground. Today I want to talk about some tips for socializing in the workplace. I think this is a really big topic, and it's hard even for non-autistic people to get used to the social environment in a workplace, but of course it is exceptionally hard for us. So I read all the time, I get questions about how to immerse yourself into the office culture, how to become more included with your coworkers. People think that they try to do this, but then maybe accidentally overshare. So I'm just going to share my experience in an office and things that I've done to kind of help with that. So a little bit of a background in my work environment. I work in a very unfriendly sensory environment. And it's not the fault of my team, it's not the fault of anybody. It's just that I work for a very large corporation, and there's thousands of employees, and so that's just how it is. There's not a lot of space, so they end up putting us all on these open floor plans. We're in cubicles, a sea of cubes. You get the picture. So again, no one's fault. It's just because of the massive size of where I work. So that said, I have a smaller team, which is nice. There's only about 10 of us. And so here's some things that I've done in the workplace that kind of helped me. So the first thing is you want to think of your coworkers as different from friends or family. They're a completely separate category. Even if you do become friends with a coworker, it's still a separate category. It's kind of weird, but the reason being is that you're in a professional environment with these people. And so your relationship is always going to be different because your relationship started professionally, and you see them at work every day and you're working with them. So you're not going to be sharing the same kinds of things you might with your family or your best friend. So a good way to think about it is, say you're at lunch with some coworkers, and they're all kind of talking and sharing, and you'd like to share, but you're not really sure how much to share or what to share. So, for example, say they're all talking about a TV show. I would then say, oh, I also watch that show. This is my favorite character. What I would refrain from doing is giving an entire backstory as to why I love that character, my thoughts on the season, a deep analysis of how the character interacts. Maybe this show is like a special interest of mine, but I'm gonna go ahead and really try to give just a snippet of information, because that allows them to also keep sharing. So if you just give one little piece of information, then that kind of shows you're in the conversation, but it allows someone to conversate back with you without feeling like, wow, like this person is only really wanting to lecture me or tell me things, which of course is not our intent, but sometimes that is how people feel if they get this huge response. Especially in the workplace. Information about yourself. Now, obviously share if you need accommodations or something like that, but in general, don't share things about your relationships at work. Don't share medical issues unless, of course, you need an accommodation or you had to miss work because you were in a car crash or something. You keep it very surface level. So, it's okay to say, oh yeah, I have a boyfriend, but it's not okay to say, oh yeah, my boyfriend and I had a huge fight last night and I locked him out of, the house and all of this stuff. That crosses a line. People want to know about you at work, but they don't want to know everything about you at work. And that's what makes the key difference between a coworker friend and a regular friend, because they only want to know more surface level. And the reason for that is because, again, you're working together. So you're creating these professional relationships, and yes, they care about you, and yes, they want to get to know you, but not intimately, because at the end of the day, you're there to perform a job, and it makes people feel uncomfortable. So another good thing is, if you want to feel, people to feel you're approachable, just kind of give little cues to them, little smiles, or just in general contributing to the conversation will let people know you're interested in speaking with them, and being a part of the group. If you're uncomfortable with that, or you feel like you're trying that and it's just not working, tell them, say, oh, hey, thank you so much for inviting me to lunch. I was just really stressed out today. I have a big project due, so I can't go, but I appreciate the invitation, and it made me feel included. In fact, I did that the other day. I told my coworker, hey, thank you. She saw me in the hall, invited me to lunch. I was too overwhelmed to go. I told her later, thank you for inviting me. It made me feel included. I'm sorry I couldn't go at that moment. And her response was, you're always invited. So people generally want to include you. They just don't always know how, because we're giving off different nonverbal signals than they are. So we're not able to read each other. We're kind of passing each other. So the more honest you are about it, the better, and let them know how you feel included. Likely they don't want to overwhelm you. So if you just let people know, then most people are happy to accommodate and to include you. They just may not have known, because again, we're speaking, two different nonverbal languages, and we're experiencing two different processing things. So those are my tips for the workplace in socializing with your coworkers. I hope that was helpful, and if you ever want more tips, head to edgeoftheplayground.com, and I will see you guys later. Thanks.